We are live now. So, Donald, we're okay to go now. We
Okay,
are
great.
good. Yes, thanks for your patience. Okay, so joining me today is Canadian award-winning makeup designer Donald Mowat. And Donald is back on the show to talk about his work on Presumed Innocent, a thriller series on Apple TV. And I am so excited to speak with you, Donald, and welcome again.
Well, thanks so much. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, so you have such an established career over 30 years, and I've read that you love what you do, and but getting into Presumed Innocent, what attracted you to the series?
Well, I think like a lot of people, you know, show business is changing. Movies are fewer and fewer, and I'm not going to lie. I mean, I think that um, with fewer films being made, with more people watching limited series and people sort of in front of the box, so to speak, I get it. People want to see quality television. I thought, well, I do too. I stay home and watch TV. I watch these shows. I'd like to work on something that I would watch. I like to work on films that I would go and see. When this presented itself and Jake Gyllenhaal called me and said, "Hey, Dee, what do you think about working on this?" He had never done television. I had. When I heard about the cast with
Mhm.
Ruth Nega and Bill Camp and Renata, I thought, yeah, I'm in. And I knew there'd be interesting makeup because it's very based in reality, and we have a whole kind of who done it, which of course would involve some interesting makeups. It was very interesting, and they producers allowed me to put together a makeup and hair team for this project. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
in. Absolutely.
Yes, and you've worked with Jake before, right, on Prisoners, is that
Many
correct?
times, many times. So I think it just timed
Yes.
that he was producing this, and I had met Ruth Nega once before. I was, big fan of her work from Loving and a number of other things. And Renata Reinsve I'd seen in The Worst Person in the World. I think she's sort of Norway's biggest or best export in acting since, Liv Ullmann. So I was a huge fan, and we had all these great people involved. And so I thought it was a great foray for me back into television.
Yes, and it's nothing like the community, right? When you work well together and I wanted to ask you now is what was the process like when designing a makeup look? Like, take us through. Like it must depend, correct?
Well, I think the way I approached it was, I really approached it kind of give them with my crew, with the entire makeup and hair crew. We delivered feature quality makeup for a television, uh, limited television special. There are many films, if you will. So whether it's the specialty sort of the autopsies and bodies and right down to kind of the lighting and the makeup of Ruth and Jake and all the different subtle makeups and the nuanced looks of people, we gave them feature film quality looks for television, which is something we don't get as often, and I think it just transitioned well.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes, like ensuring the look, the skin tones, and there's different makeup for TV and movies, right? It's a
Well,
different
that's changing
process.
over the years.
Would it be?
I think it's a great question
Mhm.
because in the old days, when I started, it was very definitively television was tended to be more picture perfect. Everybody was overly made up, maybe, or a little perfect, especially the Lifetime movies and things like that. But I think there's a sort of people are trying to, I would say, people in television today, whether it's, HBO or Showtime or Apple, are trying to make films for television look exactly like films. They want the quality, the lighting, the art direction, the production design, the costume design to look like films. And I think having just said that, then they would like people who have experience making films. So there comes people like me. And that's where makeup
Yes.
they want people who have a finer or softer hand maybe to come in and do these looks and work with actors who also are movie stars, like a Ruth Negga, who is an Oscar-nominated actress, or Jake Gyllenhaal, and the subtlety of that sort of thing.
Yes. Because being a makeup designer and makeup head and personal makeup artist and all of that, so you're very important to the scenes, as you know, you're telling a story. And how much involvement did you have working on the Presumed Innocent series?
Well, I think that very early on I was consulted. We spoke in pre-production about having enough prep time, at least to make it look as authentic as possible within the confines of a smaller scale, of getting the right cast, of doing at least some testing, especially for things like the authenticity of the young people, of the kids, of Chase and Kingston, looking authentic, believable as teenagers of this couple, of Bunny, being the first person you see murdered, and recreating a crime scene, which I really take a lot of pleasure, not pleasure in recreating a crime scene, but a great pleasure in doing my job in telling a story with the director and the cinematographer, of making this look authentic with my crew, with Molly and Ching and Karen, and making it look like it is a crime scene, and having done the research and working with the coroner to say, does that look right to you? And they go, yeah, that blood and everything looks really correct. That looks, I believe it. Creating the wounds, the prosthetics, having the correct Y incision for the autopsies, because people do watch it. And I do have friends that are physicians and nurses and people who go, wow, that looks really good. I believe that. And I take great pride in that.
Yes, and it's a research, right? It's not just,
Of
Joe
course.
sticking makeup on, obviously, but studying and the character and
Of
research
course.
and becoming like, yes.
Well,
And Donna, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, but I think it's like anything, if you write a report or an essay or journalism, do a report, whether it's radio or television or a written report, and you take great pride in the authenticity or accuracy or originality. So it's no different. Or a person who teaches, or I think we all take pride in the work we do, and I think that when you're behind the
Yes.
camera as an artisan, you take great pride. I think a nurse takes pride in what they do, or a carpenter, or somebody who builds or makes things. I think it's the same for us.
That's wonderful. And what do you enjoy most, or what on Presumed Innocent? What is it that you really enjoyed?
I'm so staggered by the reception that it's had, because it's not just some run of the mill, oh, it's coming on tonight. People are so excited by it. And I'm
Yeah.
really taken by that, because, here's a show that, is taken from a film. I think the film was okay. I didn't think it was an amazing film. If, I say my piece, it was okay. It was an all right film. That I think we actually did a better job with the television show, with a limited series, because you have that time and you've got the whodunit
Mm.
aspect. I grew up on Agatha Christie, and I love all that. Like I still do, Murder on the Orient Express, or even, just the basic whodunit. I think in human nature, we love that. We love a mystery, and the human psyche, and who did it. And I think people are already asking me, and it's not over yet. So who did it? Well, I'm never going to tell.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
I think it's fascinating and very exciting, actually, that people get excited.
Mhm.
It makes me think of the old days of whether it's radio or 1940s of dark, something quite dark and still quite good fun, actually.
Yes. And is there anything else you'd like to add, Donald?
Well, other than I think it was fantastic that we were able to work right before the strikes and after COVID, and in a very, not the best time in our and what's going on in the world. I think it's I don't like to make light of things. What's going on in the world today is very difficult and hard for millions and millions of people all over the world. But I do think there is something to be said for escapism and telling a story. And sometimes when I think of World War II, there were so many stories like this, Hitchcock, and these dark, rather
Mm.
dark dramas being told that were kind of maybe quite good for people to have these releases from what's going on, that people had these dark mysteries that they could watch, to take themselves away from what's really happening, the real reality. Because this isn't, it's an hour of drama, of a kind of heightened drama, a bit soap opera-ish too. There's an affair, there's another woman, could it be this person, that person? um, but I think it's important. It's important to have stories like this, and that it takes people out of what they're living in their own lives, and there's something
Yes.
very important in
Yeah, and thank you so much for your time today, Donald. I really enjoyed having you.
that. Well, thank you. I'll see you, I hope, in Vancouver sometime when I'm back. I'd love to come back.
Yes, that would be wonderful. Yes, I
Yeah,
would want that. So,
yeah. I just spent
well,
4 months on Tron, so that'll be out next year, Tron 2025.
oh my goodness. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll put that in there. Okay. Yeah. So, salute,
Thank you so much.
bye, and thank you for yeah. Okay.
Thank you for
Bye.
having me. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, let me go here.